Hello everyone, all 22 and a few film review, giving you guys the next episode of Draft Wraps, my draft class kind of analysis and deep dive series where we go into every pick, giving you guys rankings, grades, role projections, ceilings, path to starting, all that good stuff. Anything you want to know about your favorite team's draft class, we're probably going to be covering it in here. If you guys haven't checked out the Packers video, please go do so. I really appreciate all the love and support over on that one so far. These take a lot of time to do, so if you do enjoy it, please let me know down below. We're going to be getting through all 32 teams here. I'm going to try to get these to start flying out after this weekend, so stick around for your favorite team's class to come out. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the series here. Starting with the 49ers class at 31, my 31st ranked class. Their whole class was TKL Williams, edge out of Georgia, Alfred Collins, IDL out of Texas, Nick Martin, a linebacker out of Oklahoma State, Upton Stout, cornerback out of Western Kentucky, CJ West, IDL out of Indiana, Jordan Watkins, wide receiver, Ole Miss, Jordan James, running back, Oregon, Marquez Siegel, safety out of Kansas State, Curtis Rourke, quarterback out of Indiana, Connor Colby, guard, Iowa, and Junior Burgeon, a return specialist / wide receiver out of Montana. Overall, not a bad class at all. It is my 31st class, but like I said in the Packers video, I like a lot of these classes. I think this was a good drafting year for the NFL overall. So still a C+ grade for them, a 2.696 for the numerical grade that comes out of the formula I kind of made, taking into account the day 1 grades, day 2 grades, the different type of day 3 grading I do, as well as beneficiary points for drafting your top 3 needs or 3 to 4 needs that I thought they should target going into the class, as well as how many of your day 3 guys are going to be competing for roles, not just roster spots, but roles right away. So the 49ers get a C+ for me. Like I said, not a bad class overall, but not one of the better classes. Their first pick, the 11th pick in the draft, TKL Williams, George, edge out of Georgia. Sorry, don't know where my brain's going. No trade compensation for this pick. He was ranked number 32 on my big board, that BBR right there, Big Board Ranking. They got him at 11. As far as where these edges were going to go, I understand the value. Edges typically get drafted high, and especially in this class where kind of the rankings on everyone was super wishy-washy from person to person, team to team. Someone with these traits, this length, is going to get taken high. A little bit high for me, but he fits the 49ers edge room well. They like these longer bodies in their edge room. I understand it for them. They needed edge. It was one of the kind of main positions I wanted them targeting. Early in this class, he was the second one taken off the board. He was my 5th edge. But when you think of the guys I had in front of him, like Donovan Ezaraku, James Pierce Jr., Mike Green. Mike Green's fallen due to, off the field stuff, but he's not the typical size length requirement they like to draft at edge. James Pierce, Donovan Ezaraku kind of fall in that same category. So TKL Williams does kind of make sense for the best fit for the type of edge they're drafting, in my opinion. That's why I give this a B+. I don't hate it at all. Like I said, it was one of the positions I wanted them to go after. I like TKL Williams. The true value is kind of not great in my opinion. That's why it gets a B+, but I still really like him in that room. I like the pick a decent bit overall, just not an exceptional one in my opinion. The next pick, the 43rd pick, the 11th pick of the second round, they take Alfred Collins out of Texas, an IDL, more of a true nose tackle. You can play him on the nose, play him in the 1, play him in the 2I. He's even athletic enough to flex out to the 3. This is someone who is a true rock early downs, but also has power and enough athleticism to flash in the pass rush game and make you think that he has a ceiling in as a 3-down player. I wanted them to target a early down IDL, so I really like this. And he was number 67 on my big board, so it's not great value at 43, but I valued him as a second round player, so I thought this was the kind of round he was supposed to be going in. He was the 7th IDL taken off the board, my 10th personal IDL. But the guys I had in front of him, like Darius Alexander, like CJ West, I believe, I'm missing it up, but he was my best true nose tackle left. Sorry, I don't have my big board in front of me. I'm trying to remember the names, but he was my best true nose tackle left. So I do like this for them. I think it's a good fit scheme-wise. It's what I wanted them to go after. Big board value isn't great, but man, you talk about a 6'6", 330-pound interior D-line with pass rush upside is a rock right now. I like this for them a lot. I graded this an A-, probably more of an A or an A+ if they were able to wait towards the middle of the second, late second to get him, but still. I really like this for them. I wanted them to get IDL depth in this class. Maybe I would have rather started them looking for, guard or more outside corner depth at this spot, but I still wanted them to look into IDL, so I like it. Their next pick, 75, the 11th pick of the third round. They take Nick Martin, a linebacker out of Oklahoma State. Again, no trade compensation so far in this class for them. Did not really enjoy this pick as much. It's a really thin linebacker class. Demetrius Knight, Carson Schwetzinger, of course, Jahad Campbell, already gone. So I understand kind of reaching for your next available linebacker, the one you value the most, especially because they're probably going to be competing for early down snaps for their base packages. Still, it was really early for me. He's number 121 on my big board. I have a question mark on his ranked because I didn't have a ton of linebackers graded out and ranked in this class. Even if some of the ones I didn't have graded out, fully graded out or ranked, but I had watched, I was still liking him more than Nick Martin. Nick Martin is uber athletic guy. You see the 8.5 RAS score, can move, can fly around the field, but just looks completely lost in, all three downs. Doesn't take always the best angles. Had a decent missed tackle percentage. Through 5 games due to injury this season, he had 9 missed tackles. Not super, well sized at 5'11", 221. He's got a thick build, but it's not exceptional size. In 5 games, had 47 tackles, 7.5 TFLs, 2 PBUs, 1 forced fumble, 1 sack. So pretty solid, production in 5 games, but 9 tackles missed through 5 games is really, really scary. 2-year starter was a first team all Big 12 last year, but not this year. I graded this a C-. I get it. Not one of the biggest positions I wanted them to look after, but something they needed to go after at some point in this class. I just think you could have waited a lot longer to get it. There's still other athletic linebackers in this class that show just as much, starting playability as him. I don't think you needed to take this early. You could have got someone more impactful or someone that was a lot safer. A C- for me on this one. Didn't love this one. Their next pick, number 100, the 36th pick of the third round. They take Upton Stout, a cornerback out of Western Kentucky. Number 119 on my big board. He was my 15th ranked corner. He was the 15th one taken. So in terms of true value, it's not terrible. And in terms of positional value, I think they're hitting it right on the money. He's a 5'8", corner, 181 pounds. Going to be 23 when he's coming out. The RAS score is actually really good, just held back by his measurables. This guy I honestly liked on the outside. He played outside at Western Kentucky. If he wasn't 5'8", I would trust him on the outside. He didn't have terrible technique, but definitely profiles a lot more as a slot. Not scared to defend the run at all, so I don't hate this as a slot pick. In terms of true slot corners left in this class, not really a whole lot left. He was my highest rated true slot corner left, so I do like it. But I would have rather them take an outside corner at this spot. Their defensive scheme is very, very, very forgiving in terms of allowing undersized corners to play on the outside. But 5'8" is just, even for that scheme, super, super hard to get behind on the outside. They already have De'Amondre Lenore playing in the slot. So this guy isn't probably going to be playing or competing for a lot of snaps right away. Maybe if they play him on the outside, but that's a little bit scary if you ask me if you're playing him on the outside. I like the player right here. I like the fit. I think he's a good player. I think he would work really well in their scheme. maybe they move him back to safety, but in terms of how far he's got to start right now, it's probably a while because he's sitting behind a good body in their room right now. But I don't hate it. I rated this one to be a lot better value than the last pick, in my opinion. And even though he's probably not going to be competing for a starting spot right away, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought him in on time and try to just get him on the field early. I have a hard time leaving this one as high as a B. I kind of want to rate it a little bit lower, but I like the player a lot. At the end of the third round, I think he was the best slot available. I don't hate it. It's a B for me. CJ West, the next pick, let's get into his production a little bit. I've been going through these a little bit fast. In 2024, he had 1 interception, 1 PBU, 52 tackles, 78.9 passer rating allowed in coverage when targeted, 7.5 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. He is a 3-year starter, and in 2024, he earned a first-team Conference USA mention. So, pretty nice production, even though it's at a low level of competition. I like Up and Stout a lot. CJ West, their next pick, 113, the 11th pick of the 4th round. Again, no trade compensation for them yet. This is an I love it pick. I love CJ West as a player. This is someone who I thought could slide in at the end of day 2 and should have definitely gone in round 3 for me. Was playing nose at Indiana, and he was much more of a 3 tech to me. Has the athleticism, still has the power to take on doubles well. I like CJ West a lot. A rock in the early down game and just flashes some beautiful power and get off in the pass rush game. Again, I like him a lot. Even though they took Alfred Collins in the second, I like them double dipping at IDL. I think they should double dip at IDL in this class. Maybe a little bit early, especially considering they haven't gotten guard yet. That's the only thing that makes me want to bring this down to an I like it from an I love it, is the fact that they still need to address a line, in my opinion. I would like them to address the outside corner, not just a slot. But the value on CJ West here, in my opinion, is absolutely just great. Just absolutely insane, in my opinion. 6'1", 316-pound interior, going to be 23 at the start of the season. Posted at 9.16 RAS. He's got very, very good testing measures. Had 2 sacks, 0 hurries, 7.5 TFLs, 42 tackles, 1 PBU, and 1 forced fumble this season. Was a 2024 Big Ten honorable mention in his first year at Indiana. He spent the prior 3 years starting at Kent State. So first year in a higher level of competition, was a Big Ten honorable mention. Not the best stats, but not the best production, but very, very nice traits. Flashes very well on tape. I like this a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he competes for that second rotation in their 4-2-5/4-3. He's going to be that 3rd or 4th lineman. He's going to be competing for a lot of snaps, in my opinion. You know, they don't have a lot of juice in that interior room, so I wouldn't be surprised if they threw him down on some pass snaps. I think this is a guy who's going to be fighting to rotate a lot. I really, really, really like this pick for them. Just wish they probably went a different direction in terms of true positions. Like if they got CJ West here and he didn't take Upton Stout, or he didn't take Nick Martin the pick before and he got an outside corner, or he got a lineman, great. Would absolutely love this class so far, but not the case. The next pick, they take Jordan Watkins with the 138th pick, the 36th pick of the 4th round, so right in the back end of that 4th round, getting to the comp picks. Wide receiver out of Ole Miss, coming in at 5'11", 196, going to be 23 at the start of the season, 8.79 RAS, so had some pretty good testing measures. 49 receptions on 68 targets, 906 yards, 9 touchdowns, 18.5 yards per catch, and only 2 drops charted on the season. This is a more of, and I see the vision. I like the athleticism. You know, I see what they're looking at in him. I think they're going to mold him into that Jawan Jennings role that they have right here. I think he's going to be the eventual Jawan Jennings replacement. But someone that I don't really think competes for their top 4 right now, you know, if Brandon Ayuk is able to come back. Someone that I don't think competes for significant stats right away unless he kind of flashes and does a lot in training camp to show that he deserves more. and I'm not 100% sure if he's going to do that. This was a little bit early in terms of where I thought he would be going. I don't hate the value. It's just a little bit early for me. But when you look at the role that I think they want to get him to, I think it makes sense. But for the fourth, to get a kind of future replacement receiver role, again, they could have done a lot more to get a lot more impactful picks in this spot, in my opinion. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I see the vision. Just other routes I would have gone for them in this spot if it was me picking personally. Marquez Siegel, taken with the 160 pick, the 24th pick of the 5th round, a safety out of Kansas State. They got this pick from the Jordan Mason over to the Vikings trade. Also, I'm actually skipping one. We should be talking about Jordan James, who was taken with the 147th pick, the 9th pick of the 5th round, out of Oregon, a running back. They got this with the Deebo Samuel trade. A 5'9 running back, 205, only 21. Very low RAS at a 4.65, but an ultra productive back, 1,267 rushing yards, 5.4 yards per carry, 15 touchdowns, had some receiving production, and this was in his first year as a true starter at Oregon. They had Bucky Irvin last season. This was his time to shine, and man, he chose a good time to shine. Good production overall, not a super exciting back. I see the vision on this. The 49ers were going to go running back at some point. They do it in every class, but you have Isaac Orendo there. You still have Christian McCaffrey. I don't think this was the best running back left on the board. I think if you're trying to get someone who, kind of fits your scheme, I think Damian Martinez would have been a superb pick. I get he falls a little bit due to off-the-field concerns. I don't think this is a terrible value for Jordan James. There's just a few more running backs on the board that, maybe I would have gone. And I don't think that this is really a position that they should be focusing on, given what's left on the board and the holes on their team. But I don't hate it. Like I said, I see the vision. It's just not a superb pick, in my opinion. Their next pick, actually Marquez Siegel this time, 160th pick, the 24th pick of the 5th round, a safety out of Kansas State. Like we said before, got this from the Jordan Mason trade over to the Vikings. 5'11", 199-pound safety. So decent size, not a plus size safety, but still a full size safety. Coming in at 23 years old at the start of the season, given a 9.64 RAS score, super, super high athletic testing safety. I don't hate this pick for them. Not super, super high production. 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, 6.5 TFLs, had 60 tackles with 13 missed tackles, so decent missed tackle percentage on those tackles. 2-year starter and a 2023 Big 12 honorable mention. Not in 2024 though. I like it for them. I was kind of leaning toward I see the vision on this because, again, you still haven't taken linemen, and I wanted them to get a safety in this class, but I would rather get a safety that really competes for snaps right now. I get that they just signed Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock. Those guys don't really move the needle for me at all. I would have really liked them. Try to get safety maybe with that Upton Stout pick, maybe with the CJ West or Jordan Watkin pick, depending on what they had done if they had changed picks prior. But I understanding this long, waiting to get a safety, kind of depending on how they are, based on how they attack this board. Very, very high athletic developmental safety who's going to sit in that room and just soak up knowledge. Probably not going to compete for a lot of snaps this season, but he's going to get eventually molded into one of those quarter safety roles. So I think in a couple years, I could really see him competing for snaps or starting. Just probably not going to be super soon. Their next pick, the 222nd pick, the 11th pick of the 7th round. No trade compensation on this one. They go Curtis Rourke, a quarterback out of Indiana. 6'4 quarterback, 220, so full size. Going to be 24 and a half. He had a very, very kind of journeyman career in his first year at Indiana, this season before he was at University of Ohio with the Cats. So, his first year at a bigger step of competition, had some really nice production, 31 total touchdowns, only 5 interceptions, 69.3 0.4 completion percentage, which is really nice, had a 122.5 passer rating. So very, very nice production for him this year. Just his first year doing it. Doesn't have a rocket arm. Doesn't have the best traits. Someone who fits the scheme very well. You know, they just signed Mac Jones to a 2-year deal, so this kind of made me want to knock the pick a little bit more. But they're going to keep him as the third quarterback. Someone who doesn't have to take up a 46-man spot on game days and could still come in and, heaven forbid, anything happen to Mac Jones and Brock Purdy in the same game, or, you know, kind of in the same time frame, then he's going to be able to come in and play for them. Not a lot of quarterbacks left in the 7th. If you wanted to get a quarterback, he's probably the best one available. You know, you might argue some other names, but he fits their scheme well. I think he can come in and be a backup quarterback and develop into a very good backup quarterback for them for the future. You know, probably some other routes you can go with this pick, but it's in the 7th round. If you want a backup quarterback, there wasn't a whole lot of other names. You probably had to get him here. I understand it. Their next pick, I like this pick a lot. 249th pick, the 33rd pick of the 7th, so very back end of the 7th. We're getting to the end of the draft here. They take Connor Colby, a guard out of Iowa, full size 6'6", 309-pound guard. He's 22, posts a 9.48 RAS score, so very, very nice athletic testing measurables. On 316 pass block snaps, he had 2 sacks, 2 hits, and 6 hurries, so not the best production in this year, but a 4-year starter at Iowa who produces some pretty good linemen. He has starts at left guard, at right tackle. I really like this pick for them. You know, I think this was around his range, so it's not an I love it pick, but I really wanted them to target interior line or just O-line in general in this class. I wish they did a lot better, or a lot earlier, but to get a super athletic tester from a school who produces a lot of good linemen and a guy who's started at a lot of different positions is a 4-year starter. Again, very high tester, fits the scheme well. You're doing it at the very back end of the 7th. I like this a lot. You know, probably isn't going to get a whole lot of playing time very soon, but has all the size and measurables to someday become a role player or a starting guard in this scheme down the line. Just probably not going to happen super soon. I still think he makes the roster though, especially on this roster. And then with their last pick, 257, or second pick, the 36th pick of the 7th round, so very, very back end of the 7th, they take a return specialist, Junior Burgeon out of Montana, the Grizz, a 5'9", 184 receiver returner type. Probably not going to give you a ton of wide receiver juice, didn't even have a lot of production over at Montana. But man, this was an electric returner, had averaged a 24 yards per punt return, which is crazy numbers, at 21 yards per return on kickoff, had 3 punt returns for touchdowns this season. Over the last 2 seasons, 6 total return touchdowns. You know it's going to be a lot more difficult for him at the NFL level than at the FCS level, but man, super, super electric returner, nice vision. I like it a lot. You know, the very back end of the 7th to take a prolific return specialist, I don't hate it at all. You know, he's probably not going to do a lot for you in the receiving game, but you might be able to get him on some gadget snaps, and as a return specialist, he's probably going to start for you right away. So with a 7th round pick, to get a starter, even if it's on special teams, I don't hate it at all. And that is this total class. You know, overall, like I said, not a bad class, just a lot of questionable moves, and in my opinion. Nick Martin over in the 3rd, taking Upston Stout in the back end of the 3rd, who I like, but again, they need more of an outside than an inside. He's a 5'8" corner, so probably not going to be trusting him on the outside, even in that scheme. Nick Martin probably going to be starting for a lot of reps early, but someone who's super raw. If he's on their starting base package, it's going to look really, really scary at first. Might take a few years for him to really get ready at that position. CJ West, I absolutely loved. Probably my favorite pick for them in terms of, you know, value of where they got him where, and plus they needed interior line, even if they took one prior. Jordan Watkins, again, probably not going to be playing a ton of snaps for you early, but someone who's probably going to grow into that Jawan Jennings role down the line. Probably going to end up being their 5th, maybe their 4th receiver. maybe their fourth receiver, depending on if Brandon Ayuk can come back healthy or not. Jordan James, not a bad running back at all, but I think there's better running backs on the board, and you've got two kind of solidified guys already. You could have done something more with this pick, in my opinion. Marcus Siegel, super high athletic safety. I like this for them a lot as a developmental safety. I wish if they were going to go safety, they would, do it earlier and get someone who can kind of compete for snaps right now. But in a few years, I have a feeling that's going to be a very good body for them in this room. Curtis Rourke in the 7th, he's going to be your third quarterback. Wish you're probably taking a backup quarterback here. You just signed Mac Jones, but I don't hate it. Connor Colby, I like it for them. Super athletic guard that late. Don't hate it at all. And then an absolute electric return specialist in the 7th. Overall, not a bad class. Again, this class does get a C+ for me, 2.6966 ranking. In terms of C+, that starts at 2.65 and goes up to 2.8. So this is kind of on the lower end of the C+, but still a C+. Not a bad class at all. I like a lot of the guys they got in here, just not at the spots they got them. Wish they took different positions earlier. They did a lot of double upping in this class at spots where I didn't think they really, either a position I don't think they needed to double up at, or they might have doubled up a little bit early. It's going to be the 31st class for me, but still, very good overall class in my opinion. If you like this one, let me know down below. If you like all the analysis, you like seeing all the charts with everything up on here, please let me know. This takes a ton of time for me to do, so all the support is 100% appreciated and definitely worth it. I love doing this stuff. I'm going to keep doing it regardless, but, it is definitely nice to see people enjoying it. So, thank you guys. Please be on the lookout for more coming out very soon. After this weekend's over, I should be getting these flying out the door, so be on the lookout. Go look at any of the other stuff, the Packers video, the other draft stuff on the channel. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.